Greet you all students of MA Final. This is paper 4th, unit C, and we have been discussing R. Parthasarthi's famous poem Homecoming and various sections from this particular poem. Now, when we talk about the most significant aspects reflected in his poem, see, the first question strikes in our mind, which is one of the most appealing poems? Of course, so many examples are there, but I think this is one of the important examples. And this is the poem number 8 from Homecoming. And the title of this poem is With Paper Boat, Boys Tickle Her Lips. See, this poem is actually reflects the poet's passion for nature. And this is the reason behind it. An environmental concern as well we have. Now, what is the reason that this poem is one of the most appealing poems, as we discussed this point earlier as well? See, there is symbolical significance with relevance. Yes, of course. And what is the relevance here? See, river and entire poem is actually focused on the river. And what is the name of that river? Yes, the river is Vikai, that river. And there is personification of that river. And see, metaphor of river is also very important. It is, reflected in various other poems also. We have river Ganges and river Yamuna and so many rivers and so many important, prominent elements, features reflected over there in literary pieces. The reason behind it is that it is lifeline for the generations, for the entire humanity. And this is the point here. Now, when we articulate the notion river, it is really lifeline, and it here particularly the metaphor of mother and her generosity, care, love for all the time. The mother, she has been giving to others. Now here particularly the poet, he talks about this river. So we have it passes through the city of Madurai in Tamil Nadu. So this is personification of that river. And what is the name of that river? Vakai, that river. And as I, discussed this point earlier, that in these various sections, we have cinematic visualization. And this visualization, now the scene, earlier, other point I made myself an expert. Now the scene, it shifts to the river Vakai, and which has become victim of environmental pollution. Okay, so this is the theme of this poem. So what is the theme of this poem? Environmental pollution. And the poet's intensity of emotion, it is expressed in this particular poem. He is very much concerned about this river, which was so beautiful earlier. And then we have personification here. Here we have some important points, that this river, in a way we have a depiction of degradation of human values. So this is when you write an examination, you are supposed to write the symbolical significance of it. Okay, so we have certain important points here For instance, it has become the victim of environmental pollution, and the river, this is this like holy river Ganges, and it has been the breath and lifeline of the city, entire city. Here, particularly, and then we have great universal appeal also. So here, lifeline and of the city, Madurai and Tamil Nadu, as we have discussed earlier. So the sacred river, which was the center of worship for everybody. So due to lack of water, and it now turned into just a pond. So the poet, he is really stirred and moved by this pathetic condition of the river. Okay, so this is the point here. And now the boys, so see, the title itself is suggestive. The boys, they floated paper boats on it, and here on the surface of it, and buffaloes, they bathing and in it, and indicates the little polluted stagnant. I mean, this is the stagnant water in it, little polluted stagnant water remain over there. So this is here, and see why he has given this metaphor of motherhood, because this river, see, you can have we have text, and text is also very important. You must be thorough with the text. So here, just have a look. This is the textual part of this poem, and what are important points here? As here he has pointed out that there is eaglewood in here. So see the depiction of this river as a woman, and hair and dead flowers. So it implies what? Yes, it implies that. So this is 2 points imply. What are these 2 points? Eaglewood in her hair and dead flowers. So these dead flowers imply that the river personified as a tired, untidy old woman. Okay, so this is, and here, so this was in the clean earth also. Here's earth. See, this is the degradation of human values. People, they are misusing for it, and they have been, they have been doing such activities which are very awkward, and they don't have this kind of sense that, oh, mother, she has been giving us, and she has been so concerned, loving, and all the civilizations, they are based on the river, the water. It is the source of happiness, joy for the whole mankind. But this much of sense people, they are lacking. So the poet, the kings and fishers, or whosoever be, she used to give her water, and she used to give all the sources which are very, very important for the survival of people, survival of the whole mankind. Yes, but this is exactly the poet, when he says emperors and poets who slept in her, and they were immersed in her sacred water. So this was the scene earlier, it is reminiscent of those past days when it has the water, all everywhere, it is full of water. So the depiction of this metaphor of women, motherhood, and we have contradiction. But what is the attitude of the people? So entire poem, it is focused on the river Vakai. And in examination, you can focus the point when you write, when you are supposed to lay emphasis on R. Parthasarthi's typical characteristic features. You can focus his passion for, say, environmental concern, and which has relevance even today. So we have, in a way, great universal appeal. So this poem is, in a way, one of the most commendable poems. So what are important points here we have? Yes, in a symbolical significance we have. The reason is that civilizations, they have it based on river. And the poet particularly, he has pointed out this sacred river with metaphorical significance. So at this level, students, mind you, you must understand and comprehend the symbolical and metaphorical significance of this particular say river, the river Vikai. Then we have other sections also. I would like to focus on the other sections prescribed in your syllabus. So then we have poem number 8 also. So in which particular, now what is the title of this poem? The Street in the Evening Tells Homeward. Now in this poem, the poet, he has pointed out his, different, or we can say various kind of mindsets as cinematic impact of these particular sections, as if we have and concretization of his emotions, and then we have images, and they are so precise and vivid and concrete. So and his remarkable lyrical quality also we have in these poems. So we have poem number 10 and 12 and 14. These poems, they are prescribed in your syllabus. So the next poem in which you just have a look here. See, the textual part is also very important. So in this poem, The Street in the Evening Tells Homeward. So the flashback technique of a fill the poet's mind and changes the slides of his life, different scenes. Now here, earlier we have depiction of river Vikai and the poet's passion for that, Now here in the scene, you must, again, I lay emphasis on the points. See the scene, slides, as if, when you watch some movie and one scene, you visualize it, and then when you really comprehend the idea underlying it, then it, keeps changing. So is the case here. So when we have different, scene, the street in the evening and homeward. So he tells homeward as traffic piles up and all this, the depiction of, yes. So here in which after the, entire day's work, evening time, depiction of evening time. Work, the people, they generally come back to their home and to vehicles and carrying people, and in this way, they generally go towards destination, and so this kind of evening time depiction of that. And then we have one scene is followed by the other scene, and being stirred in the poet's mind. So this is in a way now the poet's introspection. Now why I have particularly used the word stirred here, moved, how the poet, he was moved by this evening time. Then we have again metaphor of evening time, the poet's introspection, philosophical, and his philosophical bent of mind, when his mood of desperation over the loss of identity. Okay, so what is the theme here of this poem? Loss of identity. So he at the time, he is so stirred and moved by the various, bitter experiences of his life. And the scene in which evening time, see, sometimes, we have some stimuli. The reason is that, when you visualize, when you perceive some scene or some object, some article or the like, you feel like going down the memory lane. This is exactly called the flashback technique here. So when the evening time, the poet, he is reminded of various experiences, different kind of experiences of his life, and the poet rises from the table and he shakes in a way. So this is dust from the eyes and picks up. So this is very minute depiction of the poet's observation, also his spectacles. And so this is, and then the darkness, dense darkness of the night. So his quest for identity. So these are certain lines in the crux and conclusion, and this, I mean, very small sections we have. He points out that, oh, I have exchanged the world for a table and chair. So this kind of the poet, he has in a way no remorse in giving up all the joys for writing poetry. So see, the conclusion of this poem is very important. See, I have exchanged the word. Okay, is that clear? I have exchanged the word, and this is very important. For a table and chair, I should not complain. Now, what is the significance of table and chair here? So the writing poetry. So the crux of this poem is very, very important to students, in which the poet, he has chosen the profession, or rather passion. And what is his passion and mission? Writing poetry. So he has exchanged the material, all the materialistic pursuits and joys. He does not have any kind of repentance and remorse. He does not have any. He should not complain, rather. So his preference is writing poetry. So then we have different sections, Then we, come to, so you just have a look that these are certain important points. And then his, autobiography, all these, poems, autobiographical poems. And I see him now sitting at his desk. So again, cinematic impact. The poet is sitting at his desk. The poet's significant introspective study of his life. Okay, so sometimes it happens with everybody. I mean, what happened and what kind of experiences one has, and whether it was good, or I mean, with different people, and what kind of achievements one has. I mean, this kind of introspection. Okay, whether it was right and wrong, and his discretion power and all that. So he went for the wrong chords. So do you remember? See in the first section, exile, and the second trial. So exile, his stay in England. Okay. So again he points out the point that God from the start. So in a way he confessed that he made a wrong decision. So this was not the right decision when he went to England for particular purpose, for studying or whatever. So this is so he realized his mistake. So this was the point here. So confessional poetry, that's why these poems, they are called confessional, and he confessed this outrightly. He rejected this kind of atmosphere, westernized, as he pointed out earlier in much detail. So the poet's, in a way, adverse opinion about this, and his decision. This is what he, and even in getting married also, this was, his, and then this kind of, regret in that. And the long period of war also between Greek and Trojan. So this also he has pointed out here. And, this is particularly, Trojan and, yes, this is the, Greek and Trojan, this war he has mentioned. And now, what is the reason behind it? That he has, see, the long period of war. So metaphor of war, we have, just futility of that. Colossal waste of time, money and energy. People, when they fight with each other for no reasons. And then particular event in which elopement, Helen's elopement with her lover Paris and all that. These are certain points that he has mentioned in this poem. So the idea is that then he points out his own talent. I mean, he confessed that he had no talent and all that, not much talented, yet he had tremendous command over the use of words and all that. This point, foreign language. So one point, another. So this is scene wise. He keeps changing this one point and the different steps and taken toward the important events. I mean, one step and another taken ahead by the poet in a way. So these are the points in which, say, you can have, here in which he has his different kind of experiences. So students, these are, see the points for examination point of view. So these are certain points from this poem also. We have, flashback technique, and then we have different images. And this, yes, lyrical quality of these poems also very important. And we have, see the point in which the scene, the poet, he rises from this kind of, depiction in the poem and all these points. And the crux and conclusion of the poem is very important, okay? And what is the conclusion in this poem? Yes, his passion for poetry. So he has exchanged it for table lunch. So metaphor of that, try to comprehend the point. And here also in this poem, students, this is also very important, point wise, you would have a better understanding about, this is the introspective study of his life. So, I mean, both kind of experiences, some, and the last when he, what kind of decision, and this was, he, confessed it. But the point is that the English language and his metaphorically, he has that he was after English language, but his, his really roots are very important. So the theme is based on the roots, that Tamilian roots and culture and all that. So this is really very important points, as in other sections also, other poems also, that his his passion for the Tamilian culture, for his motherland and India. So the Indianness in these poems very important, but at the same time, see the some negativity is also there. It is reflected in the poem when he discussed loss of identity and but finally when he points out his passion for poetry. So this is what exactly the poet, in a way he tends to encapsulate different aspects of his life and the multi-dimensional aspects of his life, a student. So these are, these poems, they are very important from the point of view of Arth Sarthi's craftsmanship, or we can say his style, or the theme, or in a way his particular particular aspects in which he tends to reflect his mindset and see the identical experience with the readers. So this readers identical experience on only some issues, not I mean I must not say all the issues, some of the issues in which, and then his poetic excellence, it is justified. Thank you. We'll continue.